all right, let's learn how to connect two different documents by linking between them. So this was like part of Tim Berners-Lee, the guy who invented the World Wide Web. This was like part of the crux of the problem was how do you link different documents to each other? So we want to add a new element called a link tag. And the way this works is it starts with A, and then it has an attribute. Again, we talked about attributes earlier with images. The attribute here is called href. And the value of the href is where the link will go. So now we have an opening tag that is going to have an attribute, and then we have a closing tag, and in between those is the content that will show as the text for the link. So if here we say like go to page 1 and save it, then the value in here is where we want the link to go when we click on it. So if we refresh the page right now, we don't have a value for the href. So when we click on page 1, it's not actually going to do anything. It just kind of like refreshes this same page. So if we wanted this to go to google.com, we could say https google.com and save and refresh the page. We click on go to page 1 and it brings us to google.com. Okay. We could also have that open in a new tab in the browser. So we can do that by saying target equals underscore blank and save or refresh. And now when we click on the link, it opens in a new tab. So we didn't lose our original tab by navigating away. We just navigated to, we opened that link in a new tab. So there's a couple different controls here around linking, but yeah, let's connect two pages locally. So we want to create a second page. So we'll say file, new file. Let's actually call it page 2. So we'll say we want HTML. Oh yeah, we want to save it as maybe page2.html. Okay. And we need our head and we need a body. And in our body, we might just say h1, this is page 2. We might have a p tag that says welcome to page 2. And we'll save that. And then we'll go back to our index.html. And we're going to change the context to say go to page 2. And then this will say go to page2.html. If we save it, this should work. There's a couple different ways that we can pass the value that we want to navigate to. There is a absolute path and then a relative path. So right now, because we're not starting with a fully qualified domain or any slashes or anything, this is going to go to a relative path. So if we refresh the page now and we say go to page 2, we are now on page2.html. So it loaded up page2.html, which happens to be in the same directory or in the same folder as page 1. That's why we're able to get away with just having page 2 here. Now if we put like /page 2, that wouldn't work. So if we go back, we refresh the page, and then we click on this, that's going to go to the root /page 2, but on my local machine, I don't have a page2.html at the very root of the file system. So here we're saying file : / page2.html, but that is not a valid file path to an HTML page. So this, because I was using this absolute path with the slash, I'm dropped into root /page 2. So in this case, I'm just going to leave off the slash. There are cases where you want the slash, but we'll go back here, refresh the page. So you'll notice that in the browser now, it's showing like /user /cjavilla /live /index.html. That's the full file path to the index.html page that we're looking at now. So this is like exactly on my computer where the file is saved, and that's why we're able to load it here. Okay, so let's go also to page 2 and add a link back to the index. So let's say ahref index.html, and we'll say like back to index. Okay, so now if we refresh the page, go to page 2, we're here, go back to the index, we're back here, go to page 2, go back to index, go to page 2, go back to index. All right, so that's it. That's like how we link between different pages. Cool. Some things to add about link tags is that you can also add a title attribute, which will appear when you hover over the link. So we might say like, look at me, I'm a title. Okay, we'll save that and refresh the page. And now if we hover over, go to page 2, you'll see that it shows, look at me, I'm a title in that little hover. So that is the title, and that's often, again, that's another thing that might be useful for screen readers or for showing what we're going to when we click on this link. I also wanted to call out that, you know, the default style of links isn't super attractive. It shows it's all blue, and then it has like this underline, and all of that can be changed with CSS, but it is important that we have some sort of indication that it is a link. So you'll notice that in the browser, when we are taking our mouse and we're hovering over the link, it converts into this little sort of Mickey Mouse hand looking thing that hovers over, has kind of like a glove, and it looks like a pointer that can click on something. The color of the link, the underline, the fact that it turns into a pointer when we hover over it, these are all what's called affordances that let us know that this thing is clickable. And if you are building a web page that isn't using standard A tags for things that you can click on, you might want to synthetically force these affordances so that when you hover over something that is clickable, you know that it's clickable by saying it's clickable by either making it, you know, have a blue border or a blue underline, or when you hover over it, you get this little sort of Mickey Mouse pointer hand. So these are all things that are important to think about when you're designing your web page, is making it feel normal, making it feel normal to know that this is something you can click on. Because oftentimes, if you don't provide these affordances, people might not know, or users of your website might not know that they can actually click on a thing. So that's important to call out. All right, so in the next episode, we'll talk more about images, and we'll look at a couple other things we can do with that tag.